Every February 14th, the world turns red. Roses, hearts, chocolates, romantic dinners, social media posts declaring love. But beneath the flowers and filtered photos lies a story far older, far darker, and far more complicated than most people realize. Because Valentine's Day did not begin with love, it began with blood. To understand the real origins, we have to go back nearly 2,000 years to ancient Rome, long before greeting cards and heart-shaped candy. Rome celebrated a brutal festival called Lupercalia. It was held every year in mid-February, around the 15th. Lupercalia wasn't about romance. It was about fertility, purification, and survival. During this festival, Roman priests, known as Luperci, would gather in a sacred cave believed to be where Romulus and Remus, the legendary founders of Rome, were nursed by a she-wolf. They would sacrifice goats and a dog. The animals were killed, their blood collected. And then something shocking happened. The priests would cut strips from the goat hides, dip them in blood, and run through the streets of Rome, striking women with these bloody strips. And here's the strange part. Many women welcomed it. Why? Because they believed it would make them fertile. In a world where survival depended on childbirth, this ritual was seen as a blessing. Love wasn't the focus. Fertility was, survival was, power was. There was also a matchmaking element. Some accounts suggest that young men would draw women's names from jars, pairing couples together for the duration of the festival, sometimes leading to marriage, sometimes just temporary relationships. So already, we see something very different from the soft commercial holiday we know today. But where does Valentine come into this story? That takes us to the 3rd century AD. During the rule of Roman Emperor Claudius II. According to later legends, Claudius believed that single men made better soldiers than married ones. So he allegedly banned young men from marrying. Enter a priest named Valentine. The story goes that Valentine secretly performed marriages for young couples, defying the emperor. When Claudius discovered this, Valentine was arrested and eventually executed on February 14th. Before his execution, some legends say he fell in love with the jailer's daughter and wrote her a letter signed from your Valentine. It's a beautiful story. But here's the dark twist. Historians aren't even sure which Valentine this was. There were multiple Christian martyrs named Valentine. At least 2 were executed around the same time. The details are blurry. The romantic letter may be pure legend. The marriage ban itself may have never existed. What we do know is that Valentine was executed, and over time, the church honored him as a saint. Now here's where politics enters the story. By the late 5th century, Christianity was spreading across the Roman Empire. Pagan festivals like Lupercalia were still popular, instead of trying to eliminate them completely. The church often replaced them with Christian celebrations. In 496 AD, Pope Gelasius I declared February 14th as Saint Valentine's Day. Many historians believe this was an attempt to Christianize and replace Lupercalia. So the bloody fertility festival slowly transformed into a feast day, honoring a martyr. But it still wasn't about romance. That connection came centuries later in medieval Europe. In the 14th century, the English poet Geoffrey Chaucer wrote a poem linking St. Valentine's Day with romantic love. In his work Parliament of Fowls, he described birds choosing their mates on St. Valentine's Day. At the time, February was believed to be the beginning of birds' mating season in England. The symbolism stuck. Soon, European nobility began exchanging love notes on February 14th. By the 15th century, written valentines were appearing in royal courts. One of the oldest surviving Valentine messages was written by Charles, Duke of Orleans, to his wife in 1415 while he was imprisoned in the Tower of London. What started as martyrdom slowly became poetry. And then came the final transformation, commercialization. In the 18th and 19th centuries, Valentine's Day became more widely celebrated in England and later in the United States. By the 1800s, mass-produced greeting cards began appearing. Companies realized something powerful: love could be sold. By the early 20th century, corporations had turned Valentine's Day into a marketing machine. Cards, roses, chocolates, jewelry, romantic dinners. The message shifted. If you truly love someone, prove it. Buy something. Today, Valentine's Day generates billions of dollars globally each year. In the United States alone, spending reaches tens of billions annually. The pressure is everywhere: social media, advertisements, movies. And here's where the darker psychological side appears. Valentine's Day can create feelings of exclusion, loneliness, and inadequacy. For those who are single, grieving, or struggling in relationships, the day can amplify emotional pain. It can turn love into comparison. It can turn affection into expectation. It can turn connection into competition. What began as a fertility ritual soaked in blood became a martyr's execution, evolved into medieval poetry, and finally transformed into one of the most profitable holidays in modern capitalism. So what is the real motive behind Valentine's Day? Originally, survival and fertility. Later, religious replacement and cultural control. Then, romantic expression among elites. And today, commerce. But here's something important. Even if its origins are dark, traditions evolve. Meaning changes. People reshape rituals to fit their time. You don't need blood rituals, imperial bans, or corporate pressure to define what love means. You can choose what this day represents. For some, it's romance. For others, it's friendship. For others, self-love. And for some, it's just another day in February. The truth is, Valentine's Day is a mirror. It reflects the society celebrating it. Ancient Rome saw fertility and power. Medieval Europe saw poetic devotion. Modern capitalism sees opportunity. So the next time you see a red rose or heart-shaped box of chocolates, remember, you're not just looking at a sweet holiday. You're looking at centuries of transformation. From sacrifice to sainthood to sales. That's the untold history of Valentine's Day.